All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris. This is my channel. We love comics, and I got another comic book unboxing of a comic that I'll tell you the story of afterwards. But I'm amazed at the prices I'm finding. This is another auction. If you watch my channel, you know that I talk about all the time that probably 98% of the time I'm looking under newly listed comics. But every now and then I'll look under the ending soonest, and I won't be looking for any specific comic at all. I just always type in the search just the word comics, and this book probably had 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left, and I ended up winning it. And I didn't pay the price I did for the first Black Panther, but when you see what it is, well, we'll see how much you would have paid for it, and then we'll go from there. So I see Lee Smith is here. Welcome. He's in the live chat, which I always encourage people to do, because at the end of every video I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. You don't have to be a subscriber unless you want to, and all you have to do is at least comment once in the live chat. But while I'm waiting for people to come in, if you look at the AI art, if you want to make a comment about it, please do. It's supposed to be a Captain Marvel. You can't tell because it kind of zoomed it in, unfortunately, so you can't see the outfit. But I always love to hear people's opinions. But if you look at the bottom part of that, what's scrolling by, which is the most important part, I'm looking to acquire any of those comics you see scrolling on the bottom of that screen via trade. So if anybody out there has one of those books, or multiples of those books, which if you do, you know, I bow down to you. But if you know anybody that wants to do a trade, please contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. I did a video back in November showing the books I would be willing to trade. If you don't see any there that you like, or you would like to add something that I don't have in that list that you've seen on a previous video, you can always ask, because the worst I could say is, no, I'm not willing to trade that one. But I would love to show my viewers that it doesn't necessarily always take money to get the things that you want. So hopefully we'll make that happen. All right, so we have 4 people in. If anybody wants to be kind enough to hit the like button, that's awesome. I can't tell who does it anymore because it doesn't register for some reason. You know, why would you want information about the things that you want information on? That's crazy, YouTube. All right, so luckily this person did mail it in a box, because looks like somebody either sat on it or kicked it in. So it looks like a big size box. So knock on wood, I'm hoping the comic is okay. But this is exactly why I tell people to always contact somebody that you're buying from online, whether it be eBay or some social network or whatever, and tell them how you would like it to be shipped. Because who knows what package this could have been sent in if I didn't mention it. And if this same kind of damage would have happened, it could have literally ripped the comic in two. So let's hope that's not the case. So we're going to open this bad boy up. And then, as usual, I will tell you the price I paid, which includes shipping and handling and the lovely eBay taxes. But before I give the price, I'm going to see anybody in the live chat if you're watching live, or leave a comment if you're watching this video when it's not live, of what would be the maximum price you would have bid on this. And be honest, don't say $25, because, you know, everybody on the planet that collects comics would love to get this comic or any comic of a key nature for $25. We're talking what you would maximum pay and feel very happy that you won it as. So they did wrap it in bubble wrap, so that looks like it gave it extra security. This seller has great communication. They don't all do, but you know, if you're kind to people and you have conversations, you'd be amazed at how many people will return the favor and do the right thing. So, you know, don't be afraid to have conversations with people, because believe it or not, there are people out there that actually miss having interactions with people, especially if it's something they may be commonly passionate about. All right, so they also put it in between cardboard, which is another thing I asked for. So this person seems to have done a heck of a job securing this comic. So it looks like, as you can see here, the comic didn't get affected. So again, that's why you really want to communicate with sellers. All right, so it's exactly what the person said it was going to be. This is definitely a book that I really think is a sleeper. Now, it has 1 or 2 color breaks, which I knew about, so this isn't going to be a 9.8, but I didn't buy this book because of it being a higher grade. This is probably between an 8.5 and a 9.2. Now, obviously, pressings will help, and I'm going to put it in a new bag and board because the bag looks very old. But let's go over this. All right, where is the original box? Because I want to go over... Rip that off. Okay. So, here's the comic. Now, you can see it's not a newsstand variant or anything. It's an X-Men number 266. Well, you'll say to yourself, you know, that is the first appearance, quote-unquote, of Gambit. You know, what's so interesting about this? Well, let's close in. You can see a signature there. Signature over here. Signature over there. And another signature over there. And there's one more over there. So it's got 5 signatures. It's signed by Tom DeFalco, right there. It's signed by Andy Kubert, right there. That's the one I couldn't see. Signed by Joe Rubenstein, or Rubenstein, over there. Signed by Chris Claremont, right over there. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, it is signed by the late, great Stan Lee. So this is the quote-unquote first appearance, or first full appearance, of Gambit. You can argue that, and I will not, you know, give you a hard time for that, because many people agree that this is technically not his first full appearance. The cameo technically is, but, you know, people have said because he's on the cover, this is the more desirable one. That's what everybody's going to go with. That's why this book is going to be a lot more expensive than his quote-unquote cameo. But before I reveal the price I want it as, now this wasn't a buy it now or anything. I want you to put, if you're in the live chat, or put it in the comment section, if you are watching this later on, and pause the video, what is the maximum you would have paid for this book? Now, I looked at these signatures. I have many of these people's signatures. You know, nothing's guaranteed, but they all look authentic. So I am 98% sure that every single autograph is legit. But of course, I have the deal with PGX where I can get 4 books that I send in every month to get pressed, dry cleaned, includes signature verification. So this book is definitely going to be sent in to get graded, and I'll save all of those fees with getting these signatures verified. But I'm very confident that these signatures are legit. So in the live chat, what is the maximum you would have paid for this book if you were bidding on it? Keep in mind, like I said, there's 1 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch color break crease. Other than that, looks pretty darn good. Obviously, I'd have to look at the entire book, but it looks like, just to say, between an 8.5 and a 9.2 range. So let's see if anybody wants to put in the comment section what they would have paid for it. So I'll give it a second or two, but if you're watching this later on, just pause the video. Okay, so no one wants to make a guess. That's perfectly fine. I won it at $390. So with shipping and eBay taxes, I paid $426 for this book. Now, to show you what somebody was willing to pay for this, the seller and I communicated for a little bit. And as a matter of fact, I made another deal with him with a comic that's on its way that is even better than this one, that I can't wait to show you. But the person told me that there was only one bidder. Like I said, there was about 4 minutes left, maybe less than that, ending soonest. The starting bid was one bid at $385. If you watched my video yesterday, I already talked about this. I just didn't say what comic it was. So, with it being like 2 minutes or 3 minutes left, no one else was bidding, and I guess this person that made the bid assumed that they could just bid the minimum, they're going to win it. Well, I came in last second, saw it. I placed a bid up to, I think it was $552.99 that I would be willing to pay. And this person did not make any higher amount. They just bid the starting bid of $385. So I bid at 3 seconds and won it at $390. So the person that placed the bid only put the minimum bid instead of putting a higher price. Now, why am I bringing that up? Well, after this auction ended, which I paid for it immediately, by the way, because I always do, that person contacted the seller and said, if you cancel this auction, I will give you $600 for this book right now. And the seller told me about that and said even though he could use the money, I legitimately won it, and he wasn't about to make up some story or something and cancel it to do that. And that's why I actually did another deal with him that's coming. And if I can, I'm starting to get, which by the way, Kim, I got your check for $500. I just wanted to let you know. I'll cover, obviously, all the information. But I just wanted you to see that I did get your check today, so thank you for that. Let me know when you get back your 2 money orders that you need to sign to send back. But I just wanted to let you know on record I do have it. But as soon as I get my finances back in order and get my brakes fixed on my car, I told the guy if he lists anything that I am interested in, I'll absolutely do business with him, because this person went above and beyond customer service, communication, and I like dealing with people who do things the right way. And you can see that they packaged it safely and securely, so even though the outside of the box basically got smashed and kicked in, or sat on, or stepped on, or some bigger box was on top of it, because they put the cardboard, and because they wrapped it in numerous amounts of bubble wrap, it kept it away from the edges of the box, so the comic didn't get damaged. So, that is the book. I would love to know if anybody wants to tell me what they would have paid maximum for this. Unfortunately, no one in the live chat had the opportunity to let me know, or they weren't sure. But I think $426 for this comic, with that many signatures, with 5 signatures, one of them, which, like I said, includes the late, great Stan Lee, with the feeling I have that Gambit will be in Deadpool 3, because I just have a feeling when they show that poker scene and they show the back of what looks like to be, Mr. Fix-It, another variant of Wolverine, or is Mr. Fix-It the Hulk version, the Gray Hulk? Yeah, Mr. Fix-It is the Gray Hulk at that time. But you know what I mean. They show Wolverine from the back, but you don't see the person across from him, and you can see a card about to be dealt just for a split second. Considering Gambit had a gambling scene in the Wolverine movie years ago, Wolverine Origins, and he's famous for taking playing cards and charging them, making them energy weapons, to me, it is almost a no-brainer that the person sitting on the other side, it's Patch that Wolverine is, Mr. Fix-It. Like, if you ever saw Wolverine number 8, the 1980s comic, where you see Patch and Hulk as a Gray Hulk, He was actually called Mr. Fix-It back then. Wolverine was called Patch. So when you see Patch, I can almost guarantee that Gambit is going to be on the other side. Obviously, I doubt he's going to be in costume. If he did, that'd be even more awesome. But to me, I really liked the person that played Gambit in the Wolverine Origins movie. There wasn't much to like about the Wolverine Origins movie, but I did like the person who played Gambit. And I would love to, and I'm sure many people would love to see him, start appearing more in the MCU. And I think even if they do this as a cameo in Deadpool 3, it won't be the last time you see him. Because obviously the X-Men are coming. And he is a beloved character. So I have been stocking up. And I'll just show you that I'm not playing around. This is just 2 of many. One of them I sent in last month to get graded. I think I have 5 other copies. So I am definitely into acquiring as many of those books, including these, by the way. This is a newsstand variant, as I can. So I would highly recommend, before the prices of this book skyrocket, because if he is in that movie, it's going to create a buzz. And I keep telling people all the time, base things, if you're going to speculate, base things on where you think things are going to go. Don't base it on where it is, because if it does happen, which obviously there is no guarantee, but if it does happen, that's when everybody's going to want it, and that's when the price is going to basically double overnight, and people are going to all be outbidding each other to get this book. I promise you, if the day before this auction closed, if they did an announcement or a trailer where it shows Gambit, there would have been no way I would have won this book for $390. It would have probably went double. And like I said, the person that made that one bid of $385 and didn't bother to put anything higher, contacted the person and said, I'll pay you $600 now if you cancel the order. So I'm very glad he didn't do that. Gary Hunt said, picked up X-Men 266 newsstand raw for $35. Came back at 9.8. Awesome. You can't go wrong with that. How long ago did you do that? But yeah, that's why it does pay sometimes to get the raw books. Because you never know, you might get the gems out there. Like the video I showed the other day. I got this Spawn #1 black and white for $436 and change. It's a 1 in 50 variant with only 3,100 copies in existence. This looks like it could be a 9.8. It's got the potential. Obviously, I won't know until I send it in to get graded. But yeah, I mean, this book right here is not going to get a 9.8 because of that one minor color break increase. But even if this got an 8.5 with the 5 signatures on it, with Stan Lee's signature especially on the bottom, I can easily sell this book for more than what I paid for it. And that's before Gambit ever ends up in the MCU, which we know it's just a matter of time because they are bringing the X-Men. So even if they don't put him in the Deadpool 3 movie, and I'm wrong about my assumption, which I don't think I am, but hey, stranger things have happened. That character is eventually going to go. And when's the best time to get the books? Before announcements and confirmations are made. When do most people buy them? After the confirmations have been made. If you're an investor or a speculator, that is the wrong way to do it, because you're doing the fear of missing out at that point. It's amazing to me that a book that has potential, that is going to become something valuable, will be $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 range for a year or two, and no one will touch it. But then all of a sudden there's an announcement, and that book is now a $500, $600, $700 book, and everybody's pounding on each other to get it. And not pounding in the way you're thinking, you pervert. So it just blows my mind how most people are just reactionary people, and then they complain when books become so expensive. Well, anybody complaining, I don't like the way the comic book industry is going right now because everything's so expensive. Well, first of all, they make plenty of reprints of this book. So if you want to own the book just to read it, you don't have to buy the original copy. You could probably get one in the dollar bin for a reprint, or an extremely low-grade book if you're just reading it. Or I could tell you, why did you wait until last minute to buy a book? The early early bird gets the worm. So there are some people that just love to blame society as everybody's fault instead of taking responsibility for what they choose to not only do, but choose not to do. You know, I've had people, so many people over the years, tell me how they regretted not listening to me about the Ultimate Fallout 4 and thought, well, I have time. Well, you know, the analogy I give is, just assume you were living in a house that was on the valley of a mountain, and on top of the mountain is a dam. And for years there were little cracks in it, but they kept repairing it and there was no problems. Well, if I was the next door neighbor of that house and I kept saying there's crack after crack, I'm going to conclude that eventually there could be a catastrophic event, and I don't want to be in the path of the flood when it collapses. And I'm going to move. And the other person be like, oh, you're crazy. The property values here are so sky high and it's such a beautiful place and they keep repairing it. Don't worry. And maybe 5 more years go by and the property value triples. And my next door neighbor after I moved said, oh, you were so dumb to sell at that point. Look how much more property value went up since you moved, and the dam hasn't broken. It's cracked a couple of times, but they kept repairing it. And then the next day, the person wakes up, looks out their window to enjoy the beautiful day, and sees 100 tons of water coming to smash him, his house, and his family away. So it only takes a split instant for things to change. I mean, look at, for example, if you look at gold right now, gold has hit another all-time high. It's hit in like the past 3 or 4 days in a row. It's now currently at $2,196.25 an ounce. So it's almost at $2,200. And conveniently enough, YouTube has paused the video. Alright, so you see right there. That's silver. I bought my gold between $600 and $1,300, which was about 10 to 12 years ago. Different spans in that time. And people thought, oh, you're crazy. Why would you spend that much money? And I said, because I knew where it was headed. If you think 2,200 is going to be the peak, you're wrong. They're already predicting 2,400 by the end of this year. And now that you're breaking these new all-time highs, and then it doesn't back down the next day, and it goes even higher, and then it doesn't back down the next day, and it goes even higher, and it doesn't back down the next day, it goes even higher. Now you're getting all the fear of missing out people who will jump on board when they could have bought it when it went under 2,000 at 1,900 this year, and decided, I'll wait and see if it'll go down to 300, because most people are just believe idiots out there who'll tell you everything you want to hear, and now they're missing out, and now they have to spend more money to get the same thing. QB Boogie says gold is going down to 1,900. If you want to believe that, by all means, please do. And even if it did, which it's already tested, people will be buying it up. The fact that it's about to hit 2,200, if you think it's going to go down to 1,900 from 2,200, and it could, that is going to be nothing more than a test of a bottom and establishing a bottom. So, QB Boogie, I promise you, you at the very least could be temporarily right, but I am probably 85% sure that it will never hit 1,900 again. The fact, you have to understand charts. To get to the 2,000 and above mark, it tested over the past, I think like 2 or 3 years, it hit that mark 3 times. And now it's finally broken through. So it's established breaking through a ceiling. If you think at that point, after 3 different attempts of it hitting there, correcting, and then going back again, if you think it's going to drop to that point, I'd be extremely careful about that. But hey, if you think it's going to go to 1,900, then sell all your gold if you have it and then just wait there and hope you're right. I wouldn't do it. But my point is, many people that speculate or invest in anything, 90% of them out there just listen to what other people say and follow what other people do, instead of following their own instincts or listening to people who have the future mindset instead of the right now mindset. Right now, the reason I spent only $390 for this, and after taxes and everything and shipping, where is it? I think it's $426. I don't know where I wrote it down, but about $426. The reason that I got it for this cheap, and it's got 5 signatures on it, including Stan Lee's, is most people don't see the potential value of that book like I do, and they're going to be the ones that I could sell this book to in another 2 years for probably $1,500 to $2,000. And there will be multiple people that will ask for it, especially if Gambit ends up with his own movie or in a main feature. You know, how many people want to see the 90s version of Gambit and the 90s version of Rogue being a couple the way they were in the X-Men cartoon? I mean, that was amazing times. The Stan Lee runs, the Jim Lee runs of the X-Men at that time, to me, was amazing. But hey, you know, again, everybody has the right to make their own choices. But smart investors know that even if there are dips in gold or comic books or what have you, that's the buying opportunity, because it's not gonna, even if it hit 1900, it ain't staying there, because like I said, it's reached over 2000 3 times, and the 4th time, which is just now, has broken through, and 4 different days in a row it hit a new all-time high instead of correcting, which means it's setting a new base. So that 2050 mark is probably going to be the new bottom. So it ain't getting close to 1900. But stranger things have happened, because if you know about this stuff, you know places like JP Morgan and others manipulate it by throwing, you know, paper gold, GLD, and paper silver, SLV, into the market and flooding it with paper, which lowers the price, which blows my mind, because they'll put millions of contracts out overnight and it'll drop the price, and then people buy up the physical. Eventually you can't do it anymore when you don't have the physical anymore. And people who have GLD and SLV should absolutely be going to JP Morgan and saying, hi, I would like to exchange this certificate for actual physical metal, before one day they tell you, because if you know anything about GLD and SLV, it's in the contract. They don't have to give you gold and silver in the physical form. They can refund your money or give you the value of money. Well, if the dollar collapses at that moment and you get a bunch of collapsed dollars, what good is that going to do? You know, being the richest person in the world saying I have the most monopoly money of anybody means nothing. So be very careful. So anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I would love to know what you would have paid for this book. Unfortunately, no one in the live chat had the opportunity to do that. But let's do today's surprise subscriber shout out. We're going to go with Gary Hahn, and we're going to go with Canadian Survivalist. Both of you are today's surprise subscriber shout outs, which means you don't have to be a subscriber, but if you want to hit subscribe, that's great. And if you want to hit the thumbs up button, that's awesome as well. But you can, when the video uploads, you could put a comment and put a link to either a specific video or your YouTube channel if you make videos. You don't have to have comic book content, but it has to be kid-friendly. I'm not going to promote prank channels. I'm not going to promote adult sites or anything like that. So I want it to be kid-friendly. If you don't have a YouTube channel, or you'd rather post a link to one of your social networks, Instagram or X or whatever, you can do that instead. Or if you sell anything on like Amazon or Etsy or any of those places, eBay, and you want to share a link to one of your sales, again, it doesn't have to be comic book related, but it has to be for all audiences. I'm not going to promote, you know, adult videotapes or lingerie clothing, for example. I want it to be something where anybody can watch it. So what'll happen is, if you post the link in the comment section, you're not going to see it enter right away, because it's going to go directly to spam. This prevents any trolls out there or anybody with nefarious ideas who will go to random channels just to promote like a porn site or OnlyFans or some stupid garbage like that. It will not see the light of day unless I approve it. So if you see a link, it means I checked it, I verified it, and I approved it, which means it will take you somewhere where you won't have to worry if your kid clicked on it, that it's going to take them somewhere you don't want them to be. So if you do see a link in the comment section, please support them. Let's be a real community and help each other out. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Love to hear what you think about the comic. Would you have paid the price I paid? Would you have paid more for it? Or would you have passed it by? Everybody has their own right mind to believe whatever they want. But whatever you believe, I hope it brings you to a better place. So look on the bottom of the screen of my AI art, which I'd love to hear your opinion about. If you have or know anybody that has any of the comic books you see scrolling by on the bottom of the screen, have them contact me, peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. I would love to do a trade with you and show my viewers that you can acquire the things you love in more ways than just having the ability to have money to buy everything that you want. So let's see if we can make that happen before this year ends. We got plenty of time to go, and I'm not going to give up until it happens. If it takes 5 years, I'll wait 5 years. As they say, better late than never. So thanks for watching. Give our shout-outs a shout-out. Thank you to everybody that was kind enough to join the live chat, and anybody kind enough to hit the like button. And don't forget, it is not you, it is not I.